This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, so before starting today, so going forward, the recordings, day-to-day recordings, I have added one of the file in the meeting invitation itself. Okay, if you open the meeting invitation, you'll see a file or you'll see a link here. So when you click on that, if this is a first recording, in the same way, the upcoming recordings I will add here. Okay, and also to see the notes, so you can refer this. Um, you should be able to open this. Yeah, but the notes for now, yeah, you can refer the notes from this link. Okay, going forward, whatever the documents, whatever we are going to discuss, so those things I'll upload in this folder. Okay, so that's about how you can access. Okay, and these files, right, once I add the content, I'll keep in that folder. You can open that folder and access the whatever the nodes we are adding. You can access from there. Okay, that is about that part. And coming back to what we are going to discuss. Yesterday we understood at high level as part of this training. So what we are going to discuss, right? Today, let's focus on understanding the basics of the JavaScript and Apex language. So first of all, we should know the basics. Then only we can start developing the components in a meaningful way. Okay, so for that, so let me start with um, JavaScript, and the same thing I will compare with Apex. The main difference is JavaScript, it can execute within the browser, right? So Apex requires internet, right? So it will be executed in the Salesforce server. Okay, so that's the main difference. So let's see the basics of the JavaScript, and after that we discuss about the Apex. Okay, so to start with, the first point. So JavaScript is case, right? The first point, JavaScript is case sensitive. Okay, so make sure that maybe if there is a difference in the small letter, capital letter, also it will treat that as different. We should be careful with the including the uppercase, lowercase. We should be careful when we work with the JavaScript. Okay, so before we understand about this, okay, so let me open one of the document. Hello, yeah, any questions? Okay, I'm just trying to open a document just to show you. I want to explain some basics. Yeah. So now if you see, right, I mean, just to start with, right, the programming language is also similar to the language what we speak on day-to-day basis. Okay. So just to understand easily, okay, so on day-to-day, let's say English, right? So how we started learning English. Okay, so we start with the letters, and after that the words, after that sentences. With sentences we form the paragraph, and finally we can write multiple paragraphs and meaningful content, right? In the same way, programming language also the same way, but technically how we call that is something different. Okay, so example, on day to day in English we say word, right? Multiple words we combine using grammar and form the sentence. Okay, so but in programming language, so whatever the words you see, all those things we call as tokens. Okay, instead of word, here we call as token. Okay, and also in the programming language, the word can be, right, it can be a noun, adjective, verb, pronoun. We have different types, right? In the same way, token can be a keyword or identifier, operator, string. Okay, each type will be having a specific meaning, right? Similar to verb and adjective, right? Noun, right? So how there is a difference? In the same way, the keywords, identifiers, there is a difference. Okay, we'll discuss what is keyword, what is identifier. Okay, so just understand. And also, in English, we say grammar, right? We need to follow the grammar. So without following proper grammar, if you, I mean, the sentence won't give proper meaning, right? So we have to follow the grammar and form the sentence. The same way, so when we write the program, right? So here one sentence is like one statement. We call as statement. So we form the statement by following the syntax. Programming language to programming language, the syntax will be different, right? Let's say English, different, Hindi, different, right? So in the same way, programming language to programming language, the syntax will be different. So we need to learn that so that we can work with that particular program. Okay, and also the set of sentences will be a paragraph, right? So here, set of statements in a meaningful order, right? Even sentences, if you don't maintain the proper sequence for the sentences, the paragraph won't give the meaning, right? So here also, when we write multiple statements, we have to write the statements in a proper order that we call as flow. Finally, multiple statements by combining, we can form the program. Okay, so just the basics. Okay, if you are um, purely from non-technical background, okay, so for you. Okay, now, so what we are going to discuss. First, we start with how we write a statement. Okay, so different types of statements. Okay, so different possible types of statements. What we use when we work with a programming language. So first we understand in that process we'll be knowing so all different things. Okay, so there are different types of statements. Mainly, if you take any programming language, so most of the languages, so we have different types. Okay, so if you see the memory statements, so arithmetic logical statements means for for doing calculations and all those things, conditional statements and all these things. I'll explain one after other. So first we start with the memory statement. Okay, so what is the purpose of the memory statement? Okay, so the thing is, if you take any program, right? So what is the purpose of writing a program? So if you take some day-to-day example, we use calculator, right? So how exactly it works? It won't do anything automatically, right? So we need to operate the calculator, right? So what do you want with the calculator? Do you want to add the numbers or multiply the number? Or you want to multiply and after that you want to subtract? So as a user, right, we have to provide the input, right? We have to give some data, right, as input. Let's say 100 plus 200 minus 50. Okay, we give like that. And finally, it will apply the calculation and it will give the result, right? So the thing is, any program, whatever we write, the main purpose of the program is we provide some data as input and it will apply some logic on that and it will give the output. Right? Even if you go to bank, right? So let's say you want to deposit money. There is a mission nowadays. You can keep the money in the ATM machine and it will read how much you are giving as input and it will also show the balance after depositing, right? So we are giving input and it is giving output, right? Most of the times, so most of the programs we deal with the data based on the data whatever we give, input data, output data, right? So to hold that data, system need memory, right? So if you want to save in your computer, if you want to save any image or file or anything, right, it will occupy the memory from our hard drive, right? In the same way, in the programming, so whatever the data we give, so there is a memory involved, right? To hold that data, it occupies some memory. So it's not like you can give whatever you want, right? Let's say calculator, you type like 200, 300 numbers at a time and try to add it. It might not work, right? So there will be limits based on the device what we use and all those things. Okay, so the thing is memory statement. The purpose is in the program we'll decide with what type of data we deal and based on the data system allocate the memory. Okay, so let me give some of the examples of the memory statements. Okay, so if you deal with the JavaScript, okay, so most of the languages, right? I mean, to decide with the memory allocation, so how much memory we are allocating for all those things. So we have a concept called data types. Okay, so data types. So any programming language you take, so you see the data types. We need to know with which type of data we are dealing. So are you dealing with a number? Are you dealing with a text? Are you dealing with a date? So like that. Okay. So for JavaScript also we have the data types. Okay. But when compared to Java and Apex, so here in JavaScript you see limited data types. Okay, I'll also explain how it works. Okay, so we have a data type called a number. So any number, 100, 200, 1.5, 2.5, whatever you want. to hold the number. So we have a data type in JavaScript number. Okay. And if you want to store any text starting with a single character to big text, okay, so we have a data type called string. Okay. And also to hold true or false values, right? Either true or false. So we have a data type called boolean. Okay. And also in the JavaScript, um, there is a data type called undefined. I'll explain how that is. Okay. So once we allocate the memory, and if you don't give any value, that time it will be undefined. I'll explain when we discuss, you will understand clearly. Okay. So we have that, and we also have null of the type. I'll also again give some examples so that you'll understand. So what is that null? And also nowadays in JavaScript we have something like symbol. So this we don't use much, but we have something like this begin these types. So these types mostly we don't use, but these are the data types available when we deal with the JavaScript. Okay, and also one more thing, for most of the other languages like Apex or Java, so when you define a memory statement, right? Let's say I want to store a number, so we have to mention the data type, right? So number and the name, we have to give some unique name for that because I want to hold multiple numbers. Let's say quantity, amount, and for different purpose, I want multiple. So each time when we allocate memory, we give some name. In general, the syntax will be so whatever the data type, that one, followed by the name, whatever we want to give for that memory. Okay, but in JavaScript, it's a little different. Okay, so in JavaScript, we don't explicitly means we don't specially mention you are going to store the number or string or boolean. Okay, so in JavaScript, in a generic way, right? If you want to allocate a memory, so we have the types, uh, like we have let understand, right? From long time we have where, like this. Okay, so if you want to define any, if you want to store any value, we say where and give some name, right? So in that, which type of data we can assign? You can assign any type, whatever you want. It can be a number or it can be a string. So based on the value, whatever we assign, automatically, right, in the background, this scripting language will allocate that data type and allocate that much memory. Okay, so we use these types. So we don't explicitly mention these types. Indirectly, JavaScript will take care of converting whatever value we assign. It will convert internally to these types and maintain. Okay, that is one of the basic point. Okay, so I mean to start with, I think practically, if we see, then only we can understand, and so we'll understand in a better way. Okay, so for that, what I'll do for the JavaScript, right? To play with the JavaScript, all you need is any browser. It can be a Chrome or Firefox. Uh, Most of the times we use Chrome. Okay, so let's say if you have Chrome, open anything. No need to go to any website. Just if you open even empty tab also fine. Okay, so to execute the JavaScript, some code snippets, right? So all those things, all we do, right click and click on inspect. Okay, so when you inspect, you see like this. So here you see console. So click on console. So here, right, even in the JavaScript, when we execute, when you open a page in the backend, when it is executing the JavaScript, if you want to print something, all those things we see in this console. Also, directly here we can write the code and execute and see the results, how it is resulting. Okay, so like that. Okay, so now uh, just to give some examples, so how we allocate the memory statement, right? I'm just directly going to type here and give some examples. Okay, so mostly the modern way of defining a memory statement, most of the times, so we use let, right? So let and the constant we have. Okay, the difference is constant means once we assign the value, later we cannot change it. Okay, one time you want to allocate memory and assign the value, but later you don't want to allow to replace that value with something else. Those times we go with the constant. So let means when you define a memory using let, so later part of the program, if you want, you can replace that value with some other value. So that's the difference. Okay, let's say I'm using let for now. Okay, so I'm using let and I'm defining, right? So one of the name, right? So let's say value. That's the name of the memory I'm giving. Okay, so this is one of the statement, right? In general, statement ends with semicolon. Okay, in English language, after writing a sentence, we keep full stop, right? So here in the programming languages, so after each statement, we use semicolon. Okay, so that's the difference. Okay, if you see, this is one of the statement. Okay, so the thing is, I'm defining a variable, but I'm not assigning any value, right? So now if I enter, what happens? If you see, it is returning undefined, right? So undefined is also one of the data type, right? Internally, when you allocate memory and don't assign anything by default, okay, so JavaScript, they maintain that value as undefined. Yeah, that's one example, right? So let's say, so here, right, I am assigning some, let's say, number, right, equal to, right, giving 100. Okay, so equal to is assignment operator. Okay, so right side, whatever we give, it will assign to left side. Okay, so now the value, it will hold 100, right? I mean, if I enter now also, you are saying undefined because we are not printing anything. So really, if you want to see the data type kind of thing, so what we do, um, let me type this in the, okay, let me take this. I'm just clearing everything. Okay, for now, just to make it easy, we're going to type here. Right, I'm defining that value, and if you want to know, so what is the type, what is the data type of that, this memory name, whatever we are giving. So maybe every time I'm saying memory, right? So technically, this one we call as identifier. Okay, if you see here, um, in this example, right? So we have identifier. Okay, so this let is from the JavaScript language, right? Either we need to use let or constant or var. There is no way to use anything else. Those are fixed. That will be having some meaning, right? I mean, everything is a token, but this one is provided by programming language. Only possibility either we use let or constant or var. If you want to give anything else, it's not possible, right? So those things, the token, whatever is provided by programming language and which we cannot change the meaning, so that we call as a keyword. Okay. So here if you see keyword means the programming language they provide and we cannot change the meaning, those are keywords. And as a developer, right, I'm giving like this. As a developer, when you write, you can write like this. It's up to you. It's in the developer hands. So these things we call as identifier. Okay, going forward, so even identifier is something more technical term. On day to day, no one say this one has identifier, right? So it's like in books and all, if you read, right, the technical terminology, we call this one as identifier. Also, we call as data member like that. But day to day, what we call this one as we call this one as a variable, right? So the name, whatever as a developer we give for a memory while defining memory. So that one on day to day we call as variable. Okay. So the name of the variable will be in the developer hands. Okay. Before the variable, whatever we mentioned, that type should be as per the programming language. Okay. So going forward, I will call this one as a variable. Okay. So now this is one variable. So now I want to print it. Okay. Sometimes when we write the statements, we want to understand what is the value of whatever we the memory, whatever the variable we define. So what is the value it is holding, right? So to print as a developer in JavaScript, we use console.log. This is the statement. Okay, so anytime if you want to print and see what is the value it is holding, we use console.log. So let's say I want to print that value, right? So I know that we did not assign anything. The value will be undefined, right? So let me show you. I'm simply pasting and also in the browser, right? Pasting is not allowed, right? So just please type allow pasting, allow pasting, hit enter. Due to security reasons, by default, they are not allowing to paste. Okay. Anyway, so now I'm printing in the console. This is printing. This is also printing undefined. But technically, to know the data type of that one. Okay. So when you have a variable and you want to know whatever the value the variable is holding, that is which data type. Okay. In JavaScript, we use type of. Okay. Type of, and after that the variable name. So that what is the type of that value it will give. Basically the data type. Okay. So again, I'm pasting same thing undefined. Okay. For other types, we'll see the difference. Okay. Let me. So now for this, okay, I'm sending 1000. And now for this, right now this value is having 1000. So type of this value is a number, right? Internally, it's a number. Okay. But the thing is, while defining, right, we don't say number value like that, right? Because once we define, it's up to us whether you want to assign a number or text or boolean or anything. It's up to us. Okay, so just understand that. Now let me change this one to, right, let's say some text I am giving. Right? So now if you see, right, I want to understand what is the type of that value. So testing is a string, right? Internally it's a string. Okay. So like that. Even same thing, boolean. Boolean means either true or false, right? So we give something like this. Now just test it. Now if you see boolean, it's returning boolean, right? So like that. What are the other types we have? Undefined already. If you don't assign anything, so null, especially sometimes, right? Even though there is a bug, I mean the known thing, right? I'm assigning null. Even though you assign null, it is a null type. JavaScript will return that one as object. If you see that, that is a known point. Okay, somehow people say it is a bug, but that's how it works. Okay, but technically we have null type, but while identifying, it will identify that one as object. Okay, so the other types based on the need we'll discuss, but we don't use those much, so I'm not touching those. Okay, just understand. Okay, so these are the data types, right? Different types, how we see in the JavaScript. Okay, and also here, right, in all these examples, um, so this one, so if you want the technical term, this one, right, we call as keyword, right? Keyword is the programming language what they provide, right? That everything is a token. The token which is provided by programming language and which we cannot change the meaning, that is a keyword. Identifier means as a developer we give whatever the name we want, we give, right? So that one is a identifier. Technically this is a identifier, right? So in this statement, if you see this equal to, right, plus minus, all those will be the operators. Okay, if you see this, we have operators type. So in this example, this will be the operator, right? And this is a string, right? But technically, in a generic way, if you want to say, everything is a token. But especially to identify, this is how we identify, right? And also, right, if you see, let's say some variable num, I'm saying, in that I'm assigning 100 value. The numbers, right, whatever we deal, those we call as literals. Okay, like that. Okay, so just understand those. Okay, so now also the difference what you need to understand, right? So the difference between the constant and the let, right? So constant, let's say constant, I'm giving number one, right? So when you define constant, right, for sure you have to assign a value, right? You have to assign a default value. If you see, if you don't assign, it's throwing error, syntax error, missing initializer, constant declaration. Always when you define anything with constant, you need to assign even undefined or whatever you want to assign, that should be assigned. Okay. So without assigning, it's not possible. For example, I am assigning 90. So, and also the thing is, so only one time we assign. Later, if you try to modify, right, I'm trying to modify. I want to replace with 100. Okay, I'm just again pasting here. If you see error, that constant when you assign, that means only one time we assign, and in the rest of the program we have to use that value. We don't have the chance to replace that with something else. So that is constant, right? Whenever you have a requirement, initially you want some value, later point of the program you want to replace that with some other value. So that time, so we need to use let. That's the difference between constant and let. Now if you see, sorry, I typed something else. It's okay. I think already on top it is saying it is declared. Let me try this. I think within the console, right? It's remembering everything whatever I defined previously. Okay, let me give this one as number 2, replace. Maybe if I close it, it will be done with that session. Now if you see, it is allowing. Okay, so that's the primary difference. And also, so what is that where? Right, where is something older. Okay, so previously from long time, where we used to use. So there is a slight. It is also similar to let, but a slight difference with the scope. Means when we have some, I think it is too early to understand that. Okay, in future I will explain about that one. Okay, so these are the some of the, right, one of the type, the memory statement. Okay, this is how we assign the value. So any questions so far? Understanding, are able to understand any questions so far? Okay. The next thing, while we work with the JavaScript, right? So it's not like always we simply um, work with the uh, small data like holding a number or maybe holding a string or true or false, right? There will be some complex things on day to day we need to store. Example, let's say I want to store address information, right? Address will be having many parts, maybe street number, city, state, country, zip code, right? So different parts. Let's say person information I want to store. First name, last name, email, phone number, gender, many things. Right? How we deal with those things. So those things also we can hold in the JavaScript. Okay, for that, to hold more details, example, person, address, and more than one value. You want to hold some set of information together related to same thing. So that time we define the object in the JavaScript. Okay, so how it looks. So maybe let me show you. Okay, so let's say I'm defining, most of the times we by default, the the basic point what we do, mostly we define everything as constant. Okay, only when you are knowing that we are going to change the value later, that time we can consider using let and other things. Otherwise, mostly we use constant. Okay, let's say constant and person. So how to define the object? Right? So the object looks like this. We have to give that like this. Okay, this is an empty object, nothing is there. Okay, this we call as object. So object starts with this curly bracket starting and ending. So inside that, right, you can click on enter and organize. Okay, so I want to store first name. Okay, so first name, right, and the colon and the value, right. So it's a string, right? String means we need to text values we have to enclose in JavaScript, either in single quote or double quotes. Okay, if you want, you can use single quote, or if you want, you can use double quote. It's up to you, right? So let's say I'm using single quote. Okay, so first name, let's take one of your name. That's our first name, last name. Okay, so maybe email. Like that, we can maintain multiple values. Okay, so this is an object. Okay, so we should know how we deal with the object. Okay, and also if you want to print it, right, and say console.log and person and printing. Okay, so let's see how it is going to look. So go here, just clearing, testing, and now if you see, okay, so now, right, this even I can directly say person because on top it is defined. It is giving that this is the value. Okay, and also, right, um, I want only email address. So what we do that time, whatever the variable name is there, right, person, right, that all I need is email dot email. We give that value. Like that, we can access the values, right, of this object. So this object will say key and value pair, right? Technically called as attributes: first name, last name, email. Okay, so if you want only email access something like that, this is one of the basic example. Okay, so while working with JavaScript, we should know about the object. Okay, so just understand. And also the next point, the basic things. So if you want to hold multiple values, right? So let's say you want to hold the last 5 bank transactions, right? All those are numbers. How we can hold multiple values together? So we have a concept called array. Okay, this one we call as object. We also have array, right? So object means it's related to same thing. So describing all attributes, right? When you take a person, first name, last name, email, phone number, height, weight, different information can be described in the object. Array means it can hold different values. Right? Let's say you deposited some amount, withdrawn, deposit, withdrawn. All those are different transactions in your account, right? To hold, so we define array. Okay, so array, that one also in JavaScript, right? Everything we define as a um, var or let or constant like that. Okay, no need to mention the type, but while working with Apex, you will see the difference. There we have to mention the type. Okay, here again I'm saying constant. I'm just giving as transactions equal to, right? Here I'm giving something like this. Okay, so now let's say 1000 minus 500 900 deposited minus 3000, something like this we can hold. Okay. So this is an array. So just to understand, I mean, these are just basics of the memory statement, how we define. So we have the types. So if you know these basics, it'll be good. Okay. And also, I think if I type here, right, I'm showing quickly, sometimes randomly, if you want to execute and see, this is the place. But going forward, we write many statements, and we don't want to lose those, right? So for our nodes, we want to maintain everything, whatever we are typing. So what I'll do, okay, I mean, if you don't want to rely on anything in our local system, also you can execute the JavaScript, right? So what I'll do, I'm just going to create a folder. Okay, here I'm just giving the name as JavaScript. Here, something like this I'm giving. Otherwise, we have some online websites also. There also we can type and execute. There are many ways. Okay. Um, so what I'm going to do, directly opening the JavaScript is not, that JavaScript should be connected to a page to load in the browser, right? So what I'll do, I will create a file, maybe uh, index.js, something like this. Okay, so let me from here save as documents. Sorry, here I'm just giving as index.html. So just I mean, nothing is there, just HTML starting ending. I'm not giving anything else. Okay, and also I need one file to have the JavaScript. So creating one more file. Okay, and also based on our operating system, right? Either it can be Mac or it can be Windows. There is a software called Visual Studio Code. Okay, I mean, if you want some text editor like this, so I recommend you search for Visual Studio Code. Okay, it is a free tool from Microsoft. Okay, so you can go to that website based on operating system, automatically it will show. You can download and install. Okay, So it will be useful. Okay, so just I'm using this here. I'm just double click and I'm creating one new file. By default it is a text, so I'm saving that one. Right, while saving, so if you want to save in a particular type, we give that name here, right? So I'm just giving the name as script.js or something. It can be any name. .js means uh, JavaScript. JavaScript file format is .js. Okay, JS means JavaScript. Okay, I'm just saving. Okay, so now to connect this JavaScript from here to connect. And so here we have script, and so here we have something called src, and we have to. It's in the same folder, right? Just to give slash and that script.js. That means when I open this page, it is referring this. Here, whatever we keep, that data it will load. Okay, example, I'm just printing console.log, loading something like this. I'm printing. Okay, now to see this in the browser, what we do, this is a folder I'm saving, right? So right click on that HTML file and open with browser. Okay, so automatically if it is really connected and working, so when we click on right click and inspect, click on console, so yeah, it's not connected. Okay, so something is incorrect. So script src, I think no need to give any slash, I think. Okay. So I think slash is not needed. Now if you see JS is loading like that, okay, I'm opening HTML page, and internally for this we are connecting with that JS, the JavaScript. Here whatever we have, everything, right? Whatever we print automatically it is printing. But even without printing also we can debug. I'll show you going forward. Okay, so I think we are going to keep all our logic, whatever we are discussing, those things here, so that you'll be having some idea. Okay, so the main thing we define. So let's say some number equal to 100 console.log. Printing, I want to know the type of that, right? Type of number. So it will print as number. Right? So just I'm just keeping for our reference. That's what we are understanding. And also later the main thing is this person object, how we define from that object if you want a particular attribute, particular value of this attribute. So left side one we call as attribute, right side one as a value. So if it is a right side one, if it is a string, right, we enclose in either single quote or double quote. Sometimes, right, if it is a true or false, right? For example, uh, is so for example aggregated yes or no, or true or false. Right? For true, we don't give any, right? So comma and all those kind of things, right? And also let's say age, right? So like this we give a number, we don't enclose in single quotes. It's like that. Okay, now from that whatever we want, dot that attribute name, if you give that corresponding value it will give. Yeah, that's what we discussed. And so array, how we define the array. This is array, and also in the JavaScript, right? Commenting means it should not execute that. We type whatever we want and it should not execute. So commenting, we use this double slash. After that, whatever you type, it won't consider that one as part of the JavaScript statement. You can type as a developer, you can type whatever you want for our understanding. Okay, so I'm saying to know that below one is array, I'm just saying array. To know that below one is object, I'm saying object, right? But this is a commented. So after slash slash, whatever is there, that is our up to us. Whatever you want, we can type. Okay, now right here, whatever I am typing. So when we refresh, right, automatically all those things you are seeing here printing, right? I think this array I did not print it, that's why you don't see anything. So type of that 100 is a number. This one we are getting email, it's printing. This one also, if you print it, you can also see those. I mean, all you have to save this, Control S. After that, just come back and refresh. See, right? This is the array. It's like that. Okay. So this is one type. Just now we understood, right? So when we write a program, so one of the type of the statement what we deal is this memory statements. Right? How we allocate the memory to hold the data. So that's what we discussed. The next part, right? Arithmetic and logical statements, meaning we do some calculations. We want to add, subtract, multiply, divide, right? So all those kind of things. Even we want to do some comparison. For all those things fall under this arithmetic and the logical statements. Okay, I'll give some examples about these arithmetic and logical statements. Okay, so far whatever we discussed, right? So those are, and also if you see in the JavaScript, this is one more way of commenting. Okay, this commenting specialty, you can start and end. There can be any number of lines you can type in between. Okay, so slash slash means only that line. Next line, if you type something again, it's a problem. You have to follow the syntax and type. Okay, so here just I'm saying, so these are like, so until here, so memory statements. Okay, the next category I'm going to explain arithmetic and logical statements. Okay, once we know the basics, right, then we can start writing the code and see how we load the page and everything. Okay, so here this type, I think we don't have time. Yeah, I'm saying 90 minutes, but many people are asking for only 60 minutes. Okay, so mostly 60 minutes I take, and based on the need, sometimes we use that 90 minutes time. Okay, for now today, until now, right? So any questions on understanding the process or whatever we are discussing? So any questions, understanding? Okay, so for this development, you need to practice. Okay, so mostly when you practice, I think you can understand in a better way and you can easily work. So any difficulty understanding, just let me know. So for any questions, anyone? Okay. So tomorrow we'll focus on, right, so the different arithmetic and the logical statements. So what we use as part of the JavaScript. Okay, we'll discuss those things tomorrow. Okay, and also the other types. We have conditional statements, looping, all those things. We'll discuss about those tomorrow. Before ending, any questions, anyone?
Srenu, you are doing in the Visual Studio Code, right?
Yeah, I mean it's not. I mean it's. I'm using this one as a text editor. So let's say you don't have this. At least you might have Notepad, right? So
Yeah.
whatever I'm doing, just paste in Notepad, and while saving, click on Save As and save into the folder wherever you want. Okay. So this one I'm just using to see the content of that file. Okay, it's not mandatory to use it, but going forward, VS Code is good to use. Okay,
Yeah.
even you can use Notepad plus plus also. That is also good, but it is not available for Mac. For Windows, that is good. Yeah. Any other questions, anyone? Okay, we'll discuss tomorrow. Thank you.